Hey, David Judge here, and today we're going to talk about SEO and paid advertising and discuss which one is the best one for your business. Now, this is actually a really interesting question, which for me is more about asking about which one or the other, but more around understanding the direction of your business and your overall online plans and goals. Now, before we jump into that, let's just invest a few seconds in explaining the definition of SEO and paid ads. So we line that up first before we discuss which one, and then we'll talk about the one that is best for your business. Okay, first of all, SEO in a nutshell, also known as search engine optimization and also called organic traffic, is a process used to increase your visibility on the search engines. Now, this is most commonly measured using Google, as Google hold a massive percentage of the marketplace with over 100 billion searches performed every month. Now, if I had $1 for every time that happened. When you search for something on Google, the results show up on the left-hand side, and they are often referred to as organic results. Now, the biggest attraction for SEO is the cost effectiveness, and to this day, it is one of the most cost-effective methods of getting leads into your business. Now, paid ads, as they sound, are where you're paying to get visitors through to your website. Now, while Google have a massive hold in this market, and you can see that as well when you have a look at a Google search, you'll see ads on the top and the left-hand side, or top and the right-hand side, and they're actually labeled as ads to make it nice and easy for you. There are other providers that are out there, and I mean Facebook, which has really grown in 2014, LinkedIn ads is also quite large, and Twitter ads also very large as well. Now, what they usually actually call pay-per-click, which means every single time someone clicks on your ad, you pay a fee, and it's a negotiated fee. And depending on your website that you're looking at advertising in, you can have cost per impression, which is paying a certain amount for the number of times. So let's say per 1,000 times your ad appears. You can also have cost per action, which is where you pay a price every time someone takes an action. So like they could purchase a product, and when they go through to that final page, that's when you pay. Now, SEO and paid advertising are both in the top 5 most commonly used methods for businesses looking at getting found online, and both are very, very unique in the way that they attract their new leads. Okay, so let's discuss the 2 key differences between the two. And simply, the 2 key differences are time and money. Now, to explain, if you want to get a really well-performing SEO campaign, you need to invest time. Now, just a few of those areas that would take up that time for SEO will include the layout and structure of your website, the quality of the content within your site, and the message that it actually delivers. And you would also measure how other sites connect with you and the value of that connection, the authority of your site and your brand, and finally how others interact and engage with your site. Now, a well-executed SEO campaign can take up to 6 months to yield a return, and if set up correctly, will bring in a lot of solid business and will give a lot of awesome exposure for your business. Now, when it comes to paid advertising, the level of entry, if you were to call it that, is actually a little bit lower. Now, that means that whilst there are other certain requirements, it's a lot easier and faster to get your business found online. Now, the cost, and excuse the pun of the cost, of paid advertising is literally the amount of money that you can afford to spend on your ads, which is of course relevant to how much money you would make through the leads that you convert if you set it up correctly. So that's the 2 biggest differences, like I said, time versus money. Now let's delve into briefly the greatest benefits of each, and we'll start off with SEO first. Now, in my opinion, every business that has a presence online should be performing SEO techniques as a bare minimum. So basic SEO techniques as a bare minimum, as these foundational techniques help you to grow your reputation. Now, they also assist with the visitors to your site to help them best understand how and why they would want to deal with you and your unique value proposition. SEO does all of that, yes. Now, the greatest benefit of SEO is you earn your level of search engine visibility, and unlike paid advertising where you literally disappear once you stop paying and you're replaced by your competitors, SEO will keep you up there for a sustained period of time, and you can actually reduce the amount of investment that you're actually investing in it. Now, the greatest benefit of paid advertising, if we switch over to paid advertising now, is you can actually target your potential leads, and depending on the medium that you're using, depending on the place or the site you're advertising on, you can actually target specific groups of people, their location, along with their likes and dislikes. Now, with paid advertising, you can also target people that have already visited your website with ads on other people's websites, pointing them back to your site again, saying, hey, you visited us, you're gonna come back. It's pretty tricky, yeah? Okay, so let's look at the original question of SEO or paid advertising, and I'm going to do this with a client example. Now, we had a client that we managed a paid advertising campaign for, and when he first started, he was literally just dipping his toe in the water, and we set up a paid budget of $500 a month. Now, he's getting very little results from this, and we went and assessed the campaign after the first month, and we confirmed what we thought, which was what we thought originally, that he was not investing enough within the actual campaign. Now, after a long conversation, we convinced him to quadruple his spend up to $2,000, and for that, for just 1 month to test the waters. We also set up a few funnels to make sure that we're leading them through to the right directions as he was investing that money. Now, as a result of that 1 month's increase and setting up those additional funnels, he experienced an increase of 150% of business for that month. Now, this was like a revelation for him, as he understood by increasing how much he was investing, his marketing and his return on investment would also increase. Now, at the same time, he added an SEO campaign to his business with an understanding that it would take several months to yield a result, but the money he was making from his paid advertising covered the investment of its SEO while it kicked into gear and started bringing in leads. Now, 6 months down the track, he's increased his monthly spend to $15,000 a month, and his SEO is in full gear, bringing in 3/4 of the business that this paid advertising actually brings in, yet his revenue has increased by a much larger amount, which he wouldn't share with me because he shared the first one. Even though this has created growing pains in his business, as he admittedly has said, he's acknowledged that it's a good position to be in when all of his competitors are really, really quiet. Now, for this client, he realized that paid advertising and SEO played a part in his business, and he needed both if he wanted to truly dominate in his area of business. Now, in other words, he used multiple strategies to grow his income as opposed to just one single strategy. So that's my answer, folks. That's my answer. It's not really just a question of one or the other. It's a question of how many. Now, if you don't have the time or the money for both, then as a broad example or as a broad suggestion, I'd say use paid advertising to first of all get the ball rolling. You need to make sure you're setting up funnels in your website set up in a particular way to get those people to take action, and then use SEO and the other strategies, so not just SEO or paid, and other strategies to lay down the foundation for the longer term. Now, if you use this approach, make sure you invest enough in your spend initially to get some consistent visibility, which will in turn generate those leads. Yeah? Okay, let's wrap up and talk about the next video. In the next video, we're going to discuss landing pages, which is awesome after we're talking about paid advertising, and we're going to talk about the purpose of landing pages, the elements every key landing page should have, and a few other areas around that. So if you have or you run any paid advertising, you're going to need to check this out because it fits really well in line if you have a paid ad coming through to a page and the specific message that you want to deliver. Okay, great. If you have a question you'd like me to answer, make sure you get in contact with me and I'd love to hear from you. And as always, this is David Judge talking marketing and showing you how to grow your business online.